Rupert from Jim Jones Revue on Pure Channel. Hi, Rupert.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing really fine. I'm really happy to talk to you about the Jim Jones Revue music. Yeah,
Cheers.
it's a real pleasure. I don't know if you'll be happy with that, but you know, my dad used to make me listen a lot of Delta blues.
Oh yeah.
And the 60 bands that took back the blues of the United States. And I felt really good listening the last record because I find back that energy. Were you also raised in that very rooted blues?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, when I was really young, I used to listen to bands like the Ramones and the Clash, but after that, I listened to the Gun Club, a band by a guy called Jeffrey Lee Pierce, and he took a lot of influences from original Delta blues. So that was kind of my entry into that kind of music. And then, you know, discovered Robert Johnson, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Lightning Hopkins, and then Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, and all these incredible players. And, you know, it's the bedrock of kind of, you know, any modern rock and roll. That's where it comes from, I think.
How would you say you keep it that much modern? Is it working a lot on the bass drum energy, the sound of your guitars that don't sound modern, don't sound...
Yeah, I think it's because we're not just rooted in one particular genre. It's not like we're just a blues band, we're not just a rockabilly band, we're not just focusing on the 50s. Obviously all those things are influences on what we do. But then, you know, in the 60s there was the Stooges, the MC5, then in the 70s you had the New York Dolls and the Ramones, and then later you had the Clash and the Pistols. And then in the 80s you had people like the Birthday Party and the Gun Club I mentioned. And in the 90s, John Spencer Blues Explosion, and more recently, Grinder Man, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And, you know, Grinder Man's drummer, Jim Sklavounos, produced our last record. So that was kind of a good way of connecting everything together. So I don't think we're just drawing off one particular time. It's coming off lots of different eras. But then, and we put our own self into it, you know, and then that kind of creates a little bit of a unique combination. I think if it was just straight ahead blues or straight ahead rockabilly, then it would sound more dated.
Is it also the way you choose the producers that allows you to be free, energetic, and he's taking care a lot of the sound, or are you involved in every single arrangement production?
Well, we pretty much are involved in all of it. I mean, the first record we didn't have a producer.
Jim Jones Revue?
Yeah, we just produced it. We just recorded it in a rehearsal room about 2 meters by 2 meters. It was a tiny little space, and then Jim just made it more and more distorted when he took it home, you know, to mix it, and that was that. There wasn't really a producer. And then when Jim Sklavounos came to produce Burning Your House Down, he very much just became part of, you know, the collection of us together, and he'd have ideas, and he had an understanding of how to define things a bit more sophisticated in a sonic way. But everything was recorded live, and it still retained the excitement and the energy of the first record. It was just, you know, a little bit more sophistication on the recording of it, so you could get a better sound.
Jim always said that France was a very particular audience for rock, garage rock, let's say. Do you agree with that?
I'm not sure it's necessarily for garage rock particularly, but for us as a band, we've always had a very close relationship with France. I mean, France was the first place to really grasp us, far in front of the UK, our own country. The UK caught up last year, but back in 2008, you went bananas over our first record, and we were on national TV and playing big festivals, and it's very exciting. So, like today when we played Rock, there's just always been a brilliant reaction to what we do here, and we love playing France. It's just great coming over here.
There's something I must say to the listeners that don't know you, internet people. There are many things amazing. First, the duet you do with the guitars with Jim, which is a work you remind me a lot of, Keith Richards when he was trying to found his good knife fellow, and finally Ronnie came in. It looks like you're responding always
Yeah, we can do, and sometimes it's just a wall of noise. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes
it's like, you know, and there's a bit
the distortion.
Yeah, it's like who can be the loudest, you know. It's like, but you know, there's obviously a bit of MC5, you know, Wayne Kramer and Fred Smith in there as well. But yeah, there's, you know, I think it, you know, it's a good feeling when the two guitars are really clattering. But I mean, the other thing that goes in there is that the lead instrument is really the piano.
I was arriving to Elliot. What an amazing sound, all the record long, and I was picturing also the investment on playing on stage and everywhere. Is it the signature of the band, that crazy piano all along? One of the signatures.
I think it added a really unique dimension to the sound, because you know, when we started, I mean, even now, piano is seen as like an accompanying instrument. Like the keyboard player is always the back of the stage or to the side, and he's just like embellishing what's happening with the main band. Whereas what we did was we got the piano and we put it right at the front of the stage, so physically you see the player, but also in the sound, you know, he's taking solos and it's a very dynamic part of it. I mean, unfortunately Elliot isn't playing with us anymore, but we've got another guy, Henry Herbert, who's, you know, is another incredible player. But yeah, it's like going back to Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard or whatever, and taking those back as the lead instrument. And I think it added, you know, with the guitars really crashing, I just think it added a really unique dimension to the sound.
And of course on the record, the bass is bringing the heavy side also.
I think this is another interesting kind of a mixture. It's because you got the rock and roll attack of the guitars, you got the piano doing the honky tonk, but the drums and the bass together have got an enormous swing to them, so it adds a really thick groove to it. So on the one side you've got the punk rock attack, and then you've got the groove and the swing of the rhythm section. The two things come together, and it just like sparks.
And here's the magic of Jim Jones Revue.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Rupert. It was last question. Is there a record being composed?
Yeah. This is our last festival of the European festival season. We're going to America in a few days' time to tour. Then we come back and then we start writing the new record, and then hopefully start recording it by the end of the year. And I'm not quite sure when it's going to be complete, but we're looking sort of towards spring/summer next year of releasing a new record. And it's we've had a few tracks already worked out, and it's sounding pretty hot.
Okay, so the record you can buy legally on every platform at the Jim Jones Revue and Burning Your House down there.
That's correct. Yeah, and also Here to Save Your Soul, which is like a collection of singles.
Oh yeah, there's a collection of singles too. It was a pleasure, and keep in touch. We'll keep in touch for the next one, Rupert.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.